So a lot of people always ask me, how did I achieve my physique transformation? I tell them, you know what guys, well there's a secret to how I took my body from this at the ripe age of 14, 15 to this. Yeah, it's not that great. So many times people ask me how long I've been training for, and the answer to that is 10 years. However, in reality, the problem is that's the wrong question. The right question is how long have I been training properly, which in reality is somewhere around 6 to 7 years. Because when I was in high school, I didn't know what I was doing. So naturally, I thought if I go into the gym and exercise, it's just a matter of time until I build my ultimate physique. Yeah, that's not what happened. I did so many things wrong my first few years of actually lifting that I truly believe once I fixed all of these mistakes, the amount of muscle that I put on in about 1 or 2 years was significantly higher than I did in the first 3 or 4 years, despite being half the time. This is me when I was 19, my first year of university, and this is me just 2 years later, having put on about 30 pounds at roughly the same body fat percentage, meaning that probably a good 25 pounds of which was pure lean muscle mass. It took me a good few years of trial and error, personal research, and essentially learning the hard way what I was doing incorrectly, how to fix those problems, and essentially putting me on the pathway to the physique that I have today. Do you oftentimes go to the gym, load up 20 or 30% more than you can realistically do safely, and break down on your form in order to feel like a big man? Cut that shit out! In fact, let me tell you a story. I was in my second year.
Wait a second, no, that's not right.
I was in my second year of university and I was on the squat rack. And normally I did about like 225, maybe at most 255 on a good day. And there was this girl, and sometimes we'd see each other, we'd talk, we'd make eye contact, all that good stuff. And one day she came into the gym and she ended up lifting right next to me. Now me wanting to impress her, I put on 315, 3 big plates on the squat rack. And at the time in my gym, if you could squat 3 plates, I was like, holy shit, we got a badass over here. So I proceeded to put on 315 pounds, do 2 horrendous reps until my knees gave out, completely buckled under me. The bar came down, pretty much crushing my face in between my knees. It was caught on the safety bars. I crawled out from under it, picked up what little dignity I had left, and acted cool, acted like nothing happened, walked away. And literally for the next 3 or 4 months, I had the worst knee pain. Finally, after the pain started to go away, after a few months, I was able to go back into the gym. I chose a much more conservative weight, something like 205 pounds, but this time I did it with perfect squat form. Now the good news is that within a few months, I was able to, with that new, proper, good quality, and generally safer form, I was able to progress back up to where I was when I started before the minor injury, and over time, over the next 6, 8, 12 months, I was able to surpass that, and eventually, within about a year, I was squatting like 365 with perfect form. The funny thing is, eventually, I actually ended up getting with that girl. And later when we were dating, I found out that she didn't know or give a damn about what I lifted. Honestly guys, the first time I ever hit a 500 pound deadlift PR, I remember texting her, hey babe, I did something really cool at the gym. I deadlifted 500 pounds. And her exact response was like, that's great. Is that a lot?
What the fuck?
So tip number 1 is do not sacrifice form in order to feel like a big man in the gym. Do not neglect compound lifts. And if you don't know what compound lifts are, go find out and then start doing them and prioritizing them in your workout routine. I mean, they should be the bread and butter of your routine. You should focus the most intensity on them. You should do them first in your workout routine. If you only have a certain amount of time that day and you can't really lift that long, do them. Everything else, pretty much a bonus. Compound lifts are things like the squat, bench press, deadlift, pull-ups, barbell rows, dips, shoulder press. There's a multitude of them. Essentially, they are exercises where not only are you usually lifting a lot more weight, compound exercises are using multiple muscle groups across multiple joints, all working in synchronization. This allows you to recruit the most amount of muscle fibers, lift the most sheer amount of raw weight, and in addition, it's very time effective because you get the most out of your actual workout in one exercise as opposed to doing multiple, smaller isolation exercises in order to get the same amount of benefit as opposed to one good heavy compound set. On your chest day, start with things like the bench press, incline bench press, dumbbell press, things of that nature. I don't want to see you immediately jumping into cable crossovers. This is a big reason reason why I personally advocate doing heavy free weight, we're talking barbells and dumbbells, exercises earlier in your workout, and then afterwards towards the final, 50% of your workout doing things like cables, machines, and, lighter dumbbells. If you are interested in learning more about compound exercises, I actually have a full video on this topic. I'll leave a link to it down in the description box below. This is probably one of the most annoying things I see pushed in the media, in magazines, on TV.
Well, quit wasting your time and money and get the body that you've always wanted now. The WonderCore Smart is the revolutionary new fitness breakthrough.
It's a friggin' sit-up!
Designed to target your entire core like a laser, focusing on your upper, middle, lower abs, and your oblique.
Congratulations, you've built the world's best set of abs, but nobody's gonna see it because even though you've built up the muscle, it's under a 10-year accumulated layer of Dunkin' Donuts, cheesy bread, and Domino's. Also, I'm pretty sure that this guy did not build his physique using some weird sit-up Master 4000.
And it's just so fundamentally wrong and unfortunately, with all due respect, downright stupid that when I see this, it actually angers me a little. Repeat after me. Body fat loss is not site-specific. Again, body fat loss is not site-specific. It is impossible to target body fat loss in a certain part of your body. No matter how many crunches you do to lose the belly fat, no matter how many tricep extensions or bicep curls you do in an attempt to lose arm fat, no matter what kind of strength training you do in the gym, it is not physiologically possible for the human body to target body fat reduction in a certain area based on what kind of exercise you do. This is because body fat loss is a total body process. I can understand why there's a little bit of confusion around this, because when you are trying to grow a certain muscle group, you need to train that muscle group. If you want bigger legs, you need to squat. You're not gonna do bench press in order to grow your legs. It doesn't work like that. However, even though they do fall under the general umbrella of fitness, body fat reduction and muscle synthesis are two completely separate topics. Where it burns that body fat from is up to your body, and you have virtually no control over that. It's not like your body thinks, oh man, he's doing a lot of arm movements, therefore we should burn body fat in your arms. Absolutely not. Your body pulls that body fat from all random areas of your body, and you have virtually no control over where it comes from. This is a big reason why women are much more predispositioned to storing and retaining body fat in their lower bodies, especially around their butt and thighs, as opposed to men. I cover this topic in a lot more detail in my Body Fat Distribution 101 video, so if you guys are interested in seeing that, as always, link is in the description box below. Nutrition, probably the single most important factor in terms of your overall physical development. I don't care if you are training for muscle mass or if you are training for body fat reduction. If you are trying to change your physique, nutrition is, in my opinion, it's probably like 2/3 of the battle, and training is the remaining 1/3, meaning that nutrition is twice as important as what you do in the gym. All the bench presses, the squats, all that stuff you do it's critically important, don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near as important as nutrition. This is the single biggest reason why my physical development was so inhibited in my first few years of lifting. I would go into the gym, and over time I developed, a relatively decent lifting routine, but I was not tracking my nutrition at all. And when I was finally 18 or 19, I finally started doing so after having already been training for around 3 or 4 years. I realized damn, I have really been doing this wrong. I was eating maybe around 50 to 60 grams of protein a day, which is about 1/3 of what my body required in terms of a man that size. When you finally stop looking at fitness like this arbitrary kind of thing where it's like, yeah, you go, you try hard, and hopefully it works. No, treat your body like what it is. It's a machine. Calories, macronutrients, cardiovascular activity, essentially burning calories. Once you start looking at all of these things from a quantitative metric standpoint, understanding that your body's like a Ferrari, gas goes in, power comes out, that is when you truly start to understand how to shape and manipulate and build the ultimate physique that you want. Think of your body as like a house, and if you want to build a big, beautiful, powerful mansion, essentially you may have the best architects, you may have the best carpenters, the best construction workers, but if you have no bricks, no wood, no material, you're gonna end up with some crappy half-built crack house. Or what is known in my hometown of Toronto, Canada, $1 million mansion. Fuck my life. Okay, easy there. I know a lot of you guys are thinking like, okay, drink water, stay hydrated, you know, what is this, like 4th grade PE class? We've all heard this before, and yes, we've all said this before because it's very important to stay hydrated. The problem is, people don't actually understand the gravity of the situation. They think like, yeah, stay hydrated, you'll feel good, you know, you won't be as tired. No, there is a huge and direct implication in terms of your performance in the gym, in athletics, and cardiovascular activity, in everything. So many times people talk to me and ask me about things like pre-workout nutrition. How much protein should I eat before my workout? How many carbohydrates should I have before my workout? Is it 1 hour before my workout, 2, 3 hours before my workout? Complex carbohydrates or simple sugars? Also, do I need a pre-workout supplement? What's the best pre-workout supplement company? You know, what's the best ingredients? Are we talking beta-alanine, caffeine, citrulline malate? And that's all great, but it's literally an afterthought after hydration. And an excellent study was actually done on this, and I think it illustrates this topic very well. This study found that a decrease in total body water, essentially dehydration, of just 2.5% resulted in a 45% decrease in subsequent athletic ability. If we run through the calculations, an example of this would be a 180-pound man essentially being dehydrated by losing 2 liters of body water, which is completely possible if you were doing a lot of physical activity, or maybe you just slept for 8, 9, 10 hours and you had no incoming water. You wake up in the morning, you're gonna go to the gym. Before you do anything else, you know, any kind of pre-workout, carbohydrate, anything, drink a lot of water. I'm telling you, go pour yourself a good 1 liter, you know, big glass of cold water and down it. Your muscles are 78% water. Before you even, you know, comprehend or think about things like pre-workout supplements or pre-workout carbohydrates, get some hydration in you. So when I was younger, I used to hear this rumor that the type of exercise you do is going to dictate whether you have a big or a lean physique. We've all heard this before, right?
Pump some iron. Anybody want to pump up?
What is that, like 5 pounds?
It's a 2.5. I'm not going for bulk, I'm going for tone.
There is no such thing as toning! Higher reps build muscle. Lower reps build muscle. Moderate reps, whatever you are doing, it's going to build muscle. Obviously, there are certain things which are going to be a little bit more optimal at building muscle, but chances are if you're picking stuff up and putting it down, you're building muscle. If you want to cut down, you want to decrease body fat, you want to look a little bit more toned in terms of muscle definition, this has virtually nothing to do with training in the gym. You need to reduce body fat by putting your body in an energy deficit, aka a calorie deficit. This is mostly related to your nutrition, aka your calories and macronutrients you are consuming, and in addition, your cardiovascular activity, your additional energy output in the form of jogging, Stairmaster, treadmill, sports, I don't care. And I finally learned how to put on muscle mass. That was great, but one of the problems I did is I took it a little bit too far. I knew that calories and macronutrients and carbs, fat, protein, all this stuff is good. So instead of taking, you know, this much, why don't I take this much? I'll get bigger, I'll get stronger, and I'll do all of this faster. Well, one of the problems is that's not necessarily how your body works. Guys, when it comes to muscle protein synthesis, it is a slow process. So one of the biggest problems I see is people try to speed this process up. They think that if I eat more, I'm gonna put on more muscle, put on more strength, and you know, la-di-da, everything's whoop-de-doo awesome. Who says these things? Whoop-de-fucking-doo? People often make a comparison between losing body fat and building muscle. It's like two sides of the same coin. So when it comes to losing body fat, it depends on how big of a person you are. Obviously, a 100-pound female is probably gonna lose body fat a little bit slower than a 300-pound man, but a decent, you know, average is usually something around 1 to 2 pounds of body fat per week. You cannot do this when it comes to muscle mass. If you are putting on 1 to 2 pounds of muscle mass per week, what are you doing? Please send me an email because I want to know. Because naturally that is physiologically impossible. I don't care how good your genetics are, that's pretty damn crazy. By you increasing the amount of food you eat to like ungodly levels and something which is so new for your body to the point where you are stuffing yourself with, you know, everything you can eat. And let's be honest, a good amount of it is probably going to be junk food simply due to its high calorie density. Eventually, yes, your body's probably going to put on muscle mass a little bit faster than had it would if you took the more conservative approach. If you tried to take your time on it, you had a smaller calorie surplus, you ate slightly cleaner foods. But the problem is you may speed up muscle gain by something like 10%, but you're going to speed up fat gain by like 200%. What's the point of that? Congratulations, you put on 20 pounds, 2 pounds of which was actually muscle. fat ass. Two things I advocate to avoid this. Number one is simply take your time. Put yourself into a reasonable calorie surplus. Try to put on body weight, but don't go crazy. Don't have unrealistic expectations. Do not try to put on 1-2 pounds of muscle or body weight on a weekly basis. Do not try to put 10 pounds of body weight on your body on a weekly basis. A really good mathematical example of what I think you should try to aim for is about 1 to 2% of your current body weight on a monthly basis. So a 200-pound individual who's trying to bulk up and get bigger, in his case, 1 to 2% would probably be around 2 to 4 pounds. So he should probably try to gain 2 to 4 pounds in body weight on a monthly basis going forward if they are in a bulk. If you put on 6, 7, 8 pounds that month, you're probably eating too much. I would recommend taking it down a notch. And the second thing I advocate is common sense and logic. Look at yourself in the mirror. Are you accumulating body fat? Is it happening too much? You notice that your arms are getting bigger, but is it because your biceps are getting bigger? Or is it because the subcutaneous fat layer around your arm is increasing, and instead of a bicep, you have just one big sausage? A great way to combat this is to get yourself a scale, which not only tells you body weight, but also tells you additional analysis such as body fat percentage. I myself use the body analyzer. It pretty much tells you your weight, gives you an estimation of your body fat percentage, your body water percentage, your body muscle percentage, and that's a great way to analyze your progress, because if your weight's going up, but your body fat percentage is going up too, it means, hey, you're putting a lot of fat, maybe you want to slow things down a little bit. If you guys are interested, the company that makes it actually did give me a 60% off discount code. You can access it in the description box below. There is no one super secret which is being kept by us here in the fitness industry, and this is how we get shredded, but we're not going to release it to you guys because we don't want, the common folk to know. That doesn't exist. The truth is, guys, there are so many different ways to diet out there. You can do something like high carb, low fat, or high fat, low carb, or you can do just intermittent fasting and try to pretty much eat less food because you're eating for less time during the day. Or you can not even focus on your diet at all. You can eat normally, but just do a lot more cardiovascular activity, increasing your daily energy expenditure rate. At the end of the day, they all work, because when you break it all down, you get rid of all the bells, the whistles, all this fancy bullshit. All of them do one simple basic thing. They put your body into a calorie deficit. Now, as long as you consume insufficient calories, putting your body into a calorie deficit, pretty much meaning you are burning more calories than your body gets in the form of food, your body's in a calorie deficit, and your body's essentially in a fat burning mode. That being said, there are additional factors you should take into consideration when dieting, such as macronutrients. For example, I'm telling you to eat less calories, but what is the breakdown of those calories in terms of protein, carbohydrates, and fat? How much fiber are you eating? What is the quality of the food you are eating? Are you eating McDonald's, or are you eating chicken breast, veggies, rice, fish, all these things? Because those things are a lot higher in micronutrients, otherwise known as vitamins and minerals. So anybody out there who says that this is the one magic diet and all other diets are bullshit and this is the one thing that works, they are probably trying to bullshit you, or they are trying to lie to you, or maybe that one diet may be optimal for them based on their personal preference, their personal schedule, their personal appetite, preferences, but that doesn't mean it's the perfect diet for every single human being on the planet. The only diet that works for everyone is a calorie deficit diet, because that's science. Supplements are not magic, and they are most certainly not steroids. There are supplements you can buy for 20 bucks at your local Walmart. Chances are the same place that sells dog food and preteen magazines isn't going to be selling you steroids. Protein is just a supplemental form of something that you can already get from food. In fact, most protein, such as whey or casein, is simply a derivative of dairy product. I'm pretty sure whey protein is a natural byproduct of the formation of cheese. Creatine is a natural molecule already produced internally in your body, and you can find it naturally in foods like beef, chicken, fish, dairy. Most pre-workout supplements have, all these crazy fancy things, but at the end of the day, you can essentially break it down to like 2 or 3 ingredients. And the main one, let's be honest, is caffeine, something which you can naturally buy for 3 bucks at your local Starbucks, or, in an energy drink, or pretty much everywhere in our modern society. And all other supplements are so minor that they weren't labeled a drug. That's why they're called supplements. They're not regulated by the FDA or Health Canada in my case, because they're simply not worth it. This directly pertains to me because I was so nervous about the first time I tried protein supplements because I'm like, oh my god, it's not food, it's a supplement. What is that? Is that like halfway to drugs? Is there like a continuum and I'm 50% on the way to steroids? I remember the first protein supplement I ever tried, my parents bought me 2 pounds of organic, natural hemp protein. I took it home and I was so excited because I thought like the second I take this, that's it, my body's gonna change. And I didn't have a blender at the time and I didn't know what to do with it or what to mix it with. So this literally like makes me want to gag because I remember doing this. I took a cup of orange juice. Literally, it was like that big. It couldn't have been more than like 250 milliliters. I took a full scoop of hemp protein powder, put it in there, proceeded to mix it with a spoon, which by the way didn't work because there was like that much protein powder and that much liquid. So it just kind of turned into this weird clumpy goop. I remember it was like the most disgusting, vile thing ever, but gotta do it for those gains, right? Point is, supplements can help, but they are not magic and they are in no way, shape, or form anywhere close to steroids. They are simply a faster, more convenient, and oftentimes less expensive way to get something which you can already get naturally from food. By the way guys, if you're interested, I personally use my protein for all my supplements, and as always, link down in the description box below. Meal timing. It's not that big of a deal. When I was younger, I used to hear this rumor going around that if you want to build the best physique in terms of keeping your metabolism ramped up and burning body fat while simultaneously synthesizing muscle mass, you need to be eating, a small meal every 2 to 3 hours. Essentially, you need to eat 6, 7, or 8 little meals per day. This has been pretty much completely disproven in terms of scientific evidence and in terms of just personal experience. There are plenty of examples of guys here on social media, on YouTube, who have built fantastic physiques doing things like intermittent fasting, where they pretty much eat through an 8-hour window throughout the 24-hour day. So they may eat something as little as, 2 big meals and then maybe like 1 little snack. So essentially 3 meals, and then they go 16 hours without eating a single thing, and they're completely fine. In addition, there's the myth of the protein window, how after working out, your body is primed for muscle protein synthesis. And if you don't get some quick, fast-acting protein into your body within this 30 or maybe like 60-minute protein magic time window, then essentially everything you did during that workout is going to be for nothing. This one, it's not complete bullshit, but I think it is grossly over-exaggerated. Yes, it is true that following a workout, muscle protein synthesis is temporarily elevated, but this lasts for pretty much 24 to almost 36 hours following a workout. It's not like you've got 30 minutes and after that, poof, it's gone. A great piece of evidence from this comes from the article Evidence-Based Recommendations for Natural Bodybuilding Contest Preparation, Nutrition, and Supplementation. In that article, it states, and I quote, "In terms of practical application to resistance training bouts with a typical length, Aragon and Schoenfield recently suggested a protein dose corresponding to about 0.4 to 0.5 grams per kilogram of body weight consumed at both the pre and post-exercise periods. However, for both objective relevant bodybuilding, the current evidence indicates that global macronutrient composition of the diet is likely the most important nutritional variable related to chronic training adaptations." Pretty much when you translate this into normal human English, it means that yes, ideally you want to get, a reasonable intake of protein before and after training. However, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the be all to end all. The most important thing has always been and always will be total global macronutrient intake. How many grams of protein, carbohydrates, and fat you are getting in the total day, not specifically when you are consuming it. My personal recommendation to you is that if you don't eat that often throughout the day, as long as you get something very basic, we're talking like 3 meals per day. This could be 2 big meals and then maybe like a little snack. You should be fine. In addition, if you can't eat a meal consisting with at least some, level of protein immediately after a workout, depends how long. If you eat 2 hours after working out, you're probably okay. Let's say, for example, you work out in the mornings, then you go to school, you go to work or whatever, and then you can't eat for 8, 9, 10 hours, something drastic like that. In that case, I would highly advocate that after working out, you get a protein shake, a protein bar, just, some little snack or something like that. Chest Mondays, arm Sundays, Thursday leg day. Bullshit! All of this is bullshit. When I first started out, probably for the first 3 or 4 years of my training career, I was training each muscle group 1 day per week. I would have a chest day, a leg day, and I would just repeat this cycle forever because it made sense to me, right? Your body responds best to training a little bit more frequently and a little bit less in terms of total workout length or volume. Scrap the chest Mondays, all of these one muscle group per days, and start training each muscle group at least 2 times per week. I personally recommend doubling up or grouping muscle groups together. This is why a lot of guys in the industry, instead of us doing something like a shoulder day or a chest day, we'll do something like an overall push day where we'll work out triceps, shoulders, and chest because they are kind of similar muscle groups in terms of the kind of movements that we do. It's always pushing movements. Or pull movements when we work out biceps and back together. Or you can split it up like a total lower body day, a total upper body day. As long as whatever training program you are doing allows you to effectively train each muscle group at least 2 times per week, you're fine. A great piece of evidence for this is an article by Dr. Brad Schoenfeld where he essentially proved all of what I'm talking about, how you should be training your body at least 2 times per week in terms of each muscle group. Okay, so this one may be a little bit controversial, and I think that some of you guys out there may even get a little bit offended because in a way I'm telling you to ignore what your heroes are saying. Guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, guys like, legit IFBB pro bodybuilders. And what I always advocate is look to those guys for inspiration or motivation. If you love what they do and it inspires you to get in the gym, work hard, get in the kitchen and work hard in terms of your actual diet, that is fantastic, more power to you. However, oftentimes I really believe that that's essentially where it should end. The reason behind this is that these guys are clearly on vitamin S. Now I have nothing wrong with that. I love both natural and non-natural, enhanced bodybuilding. However, you have to understand that they are 2 different sports and the advice of one may not pertain or may not be optimal for the other. And guys, I friggin' love Arnold Schwarzenegger. Honestly, pumping iron was probably the reason that I myself got into bodybuilding and general physical development. And I loved that, and I wanted to train like him, but after doing some research and also trial and error, realizing that, hey, his workout program literally killed me. And I'm not saying like, oh, that was a good workout, it really killed me. I'm saying like, no, you literally can't do it and you feel like crap afterwards. Specifically, there are 2 big things that enhanced bodybuilders do, which may work for them, and great, Godspeed. However, when it comes to natural lifters, which is essentially probably like 99% of the people watching this video, especially beginners, it's not necessarily the best strategy for you to follow when you start lifting. Number 1 is gruelingly long workouts. Guys, honestly, you should not be in the gym for anywhere more than an hour or an hour and a half at most if it's like a really high volume training day. If you were in the gym for longer than that, you were probably doing one of 2 things. Number 1 is you are probably wasting time and, let's be honest, dicking around. So get off Facebook, get off Instagram, and stop DMing girls in between your sets. Do the workout. And the second thing is you are actually doing that many sets, reps, and your workout really is taking you, 2, 3, 4 hours, similar to what those crazy massive jack pros used to do. For natural lifters, overtraining is a real problem which can affect you. And at the same time, guys, you don't need to. It has been scientifically proven that the ideal training frequency and the ideal total workout volume is hitting each muscle group something around 2, maybe 3 times per week, and each session should have somewhere around 40 to 70 reps per muscle group per actual workout. When it comes to working out, your body follows the principle of diminishing returns. This is something I remember learning in my economics classes, but it's interesting because it directly applies here. The more and more time and effort you put into your physique in terms of a single workout, the less and less returns you actually get in the form of muscle stimulus. So when it comes to those big jack, massive IFBB pros, if you take inspiration and motivation from them, that is friggin' awesome and that's great to hear. However, I do not advocate that you emulate their training or nutrition strategies. The final thing I want to talk about isn't necessarily a piece of advice in terms of what you can do to improve your physique or your nutrition or any of that stuff. It's more so related to your mentality, which in some ways is even more important. This is to stop comparing yourself to other people out there. If you're doing so for motivation or inspiration, sure, great, it's awesome. But if you want to specifically make your physique look like someone else's physique out there, I do not recommend that. The reason behind this is because bodybuilding or physical development, fitness, whatever you want to call it, it's not a 100% even or fair playing ground. There is a crazy high degree of natural human genetic variability, and I talk about this in great detail in my recent video, Genetics 101. As always, link in the description box below if you want to watch a full 25-minute informational video. There's a multitude of factors which mean that even though you and someone else may be training the exact same way, with the exact same program and the exact same intensity, you may get vastly different results. Maybe it's due to your bone structure, in terms of your clavicles, your clavicle width, your shoulder width, your hip width, in terms of your actual muscle insertions. Where does your bicep insert on the muscle? Is it here or here? Or, pretty much where does your bicep sit on your actual skeletal structure? All of these different things are going to affect what your physique looks like no matter how you train. You're only able to improve and build upon the physique blueprint that you were given at birth, but at the end of the day, that's still pretty damn good. I guarantee it. Alright guys, that's it. That is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize if it went very long. There's just a lot of information. If you want to see more videos with information and stupid random memes and me doing way too many hand movements, this is like secret tip number 14. Move your hands as much as possible no matter what you are doing. I probably burnt a solid 70 calories just sitting here. I'm gonna be shredded tomorrow. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.